a very important point. When we lit the candle, it is not merely to remove the darkness. It is to create the presence of light. We lit the candle to create the presence of light. Because an object is perceived not in the absence of darkness. It is better to say an object is perceived, endowed, bathed in light. Bathed in light. Why can't we say that an object is perceived in the absence of darkness? Absence of darkness means presence of light. Darkness doesn't have its own identity. How can it have presence in absence? What you call darkness is nothing but the absence of light. Absence of light is darkness. Light can be now present, now absent. Not darkness is now present, now absent. Darkness has no identity of its own. And therefore, in the same manner, the Purvapakshi the Siddhanta is telling, just as we make an effort not only to remove darkness but to create light, similarly, we not only make an effort to remove the obstructing creations, we not only make an effort to remove the mritpinda, not only to remove the kapala, but also make an extra effort to create the shape of the form. The unmanifest form is given, the manifest shape, some extra effort is made. Negation of one creation doesn't amount to, the negation of one creation doesn't amount to the presence of another creation. Negation of one creation is necessary to bring about another creation. That's a different matter. Negation of one thought itself is not synonymous with the presence of second thought. Both badi baat hai, you can think independently. The mere negation of one thought is not synonymous with the presence of another thought. After negating the first thought, I have to make an extra effort to create another thought. A thought may be in the way of, the first thought is in the way of the second thought. But when the first thought is gone, then the way is clear for me to create a second thought. But the mere negation of the first thought is not synonymous with the second thought. It doesn't amount presence of the second thought. The absence of one thought doesn't mean the presence of the another thought. Similarly, having negated the mritpinda state and kapala state, I have to make an extra effort to bring about pot. Therefore, I have to take it to the wheel. Whereas the Purvapakshi is saying, if you say pot is veiled by mritpinda, pot is veiled by kapala, Purvapakshi thinks then remove the mritpinda, remove the kapala, pot should be visible. ऐसा नहीं. I have to make an effort not only to dismantle mritpinda, not only to dismantle kapala, to negate kapala, but also make an extra effort to create it. This is the whole topic. If you can follow it, follow it. If you are all following it, don't think Swamiji is doubting your capacity. ऐसा कुछ नहीं. These are all habits of a teacher. Try to follow doesn't mean really I have a doubt. ऐसा कुछ नहीं. कुछ तो बोलना है ना. Otherwise everybody will go to sleep. They all fall asleep. I told you what happened in Kashi. Yes, that boy fell asleep. that Shastri was telling so beautifully. So beautifully was telling. 80 plus old man. 80 plus years old person. He offered me a cup of tea. Just, his eloquence was triggered. Yes. He was so eloquent in talking about that particular point. It was so beautiful, so much of wisdom, so much of scholarship. And I was enjoying it so nice. I was hardly 25, 26, 27 at that time. And this boy who came with that question simply went into sleep. The Shastri is, it doesn't bother. Na means what? In order to make the pot visible, you should not only dismantle the mritpinda, not only dismantle the kapala, prakashavataha, a pot. We need to, in order to perceive the pot that is there in the darkness, I should not only remove darkness, but I should create light. The pot is perceived not in the absence of light. A pot is perceived, an object is perceived in the presence of light. Do you understand the difference? See, that's what I think it is. Even though prosperity is called absence of poverty, it is not absence of poverty, it is presence of prosperity. When there is prosperity, there is prosperity. When there is no prosperity, the absence of prosperity is called poverty. Poverty doesn't have its own identity. Prosperity, when it is there, it is prosperity. When it is not there, it is poverty. Understand enough? Thus, an object that is there in the darkness, it is not seen, but if you throw light, then it is perceived. That means an object is perceived not in the absence of darkness, but the object is perceived in the presence of the light. Now, prakashavataha, endowed with light, ghatasya, a pot, upalabhyamanatvat, an object is perceived when bathed in light. An object is perceived bathed in light. But it is wrong to say an object is perceived in the absence of darkness. See the language, That's why people, get, they get migraines when they study Vedanta, because this is the language. The language is like this. You understand, the language is like that. That's why, right from the beginning, if you can enjoy life, if you can enjoy reflection, otherwise useless. If you can't enjoy reasoning, if you can't enjoy reflection, you can't enjoy living. Because living can be very boring. It is a process. Life is a routine, and routine becomes monotonous. Routine becomes monotonous. Are you able to follow? What is living? Suvere Utna begins with that. A very inauspicious beginning. Now उठेंगे आराम से पड़े रहो, फिर कोई problem. Morning, one gets up and goes for a cup of tea. That insipid without sugar tea. Why? Because these days even that you can't have. Because the doctor has told to give up sugar. And routine, any routine can become, even a class I tell you, every day you come to do that as a routine it is boring. But the topic of the classes is not boring. There is a difference between the routine. Therefore, if you are not a reflective person, living can be very boring. When the living becomes boring, then you take to vices, drinking, etc. Then how do you kill boredom? Then you take to canis. The cane means the tobacco tree. So that for a few minutes, you kill boredom. Or pan masala, keep doing it. To kill boredom. All kinds of vices you get into. If living becomes you should. The one way to tackle boredom is not to accept it. Please understand. Not to accept boredom. Not to accept that I am feeling bored. I have to face it, same fine. You should assert your liveliness, but not accept boredom. Go for a little walk when you feel bored. Perspire a little. You will get back that liveliness. But never accept boredom. Once you accept boredom, then you want to kill it. And if you want to kill it, the methods of killing boredom are very, very deceptive, very dubious. Then you take to all kinds of vices. Terrible. You have been regular students of Vedanta, and therefore I am telling the truth. This is the truth. Yes. Therefore, all routines can be boring. But topic is not a routine. Searching for happiness is not a routine. Love for happiness, consistent love for happiness is not a routine. Consistent love for existence is not a routine. Similarly, understanding Vedanta is not a routine. Thus, don't really feel bored with this kind of language. Understand, appreciate it. An object is perceived not in the absence of darkness, but in the presence of light. We can't talk about darkness in terms of presence and absence. It is the light that is sometimes present and sometimes absent. Darkness is nothing but absence of light. But light is not defined as absence of darkness. Light has its identity, darkness has no identity. Yatha, just as Prakasha Visishtaha, endowed with light, an object endowed with light. Prakasha Visishtaha, Ghataha, a pot, or any object. Upalabhyate is perceived. Pradeepa Karane, when the sun is up. When the sun is up, when the sun rises, an object becomes endowed with the light, it becomes bathed in light, and when it is bathed in light, it gets perceived. Pradeepakarane na tatha prak pradeepakarnat. In that manner, it cannot be perceived the way it is perceived in the presence of the light. In that manner, it cannot be perceived before the light rises, before the light begins, before the sun rises. Therefore, it is better to say that an object is perceived in the presence of the light rather than in the absence of darkness. Baba, what a language. It is not perceived, it is perceived in the presence of light, but not absence of darkness. Light is not absence of darkness, light is presence of light. Darkness can be called absence of light. Absence of darkness means presence of light. Therefore, there is no way of removing darkness except through the presence of light. That is the essence. Tasmat, sir, tasmat. So, and apply this and extend the same logic. Absence of mrit pinda is not presence of pot. I have to bring about the presence of pot. In the process, the mrit pinda and the kapala would disappear. All this intellectual discussion is going on only because the Buddhist doesn't believe in Shabda Pramanam. He wants to establish that there is nothing, there is Shunyam through Anumana, through logic. When he believes only in logic, and the logic independent of the subject would go wrong. Any reasoning unrelated to the observer would go wrong. Any reasoning that doesn't take into account the observer would go wrong. Both important, I think. In fact, reasoning relating to the observer, the reasoning that takes into account the observer, is what is called Anubhava Anga Rupa Tarka. Meaning what? It's a part of experience. It's not distanced from experience. It's in the light of experience. So when somebody is trying to establish that everything is nothing, when a person is trying to establish that everything is shunyam, the world is shunyam and even the person is shunyam, and when he is trying to establish it through mere logic, independent of the observer, then the Vedanta also has to dismiss him only through the logic based on simple drishtartham. Bas. You have to do some jadoo and dismiss him. Yes. Tasmat, therefore, na tamas tiraskaraya eva, and therefore only for removing darkness, pradipakaranam, we create light not merely to remove darkness, but to make the objects endowed with the presence of light. Did you follow? You have to follow the language. We create light not merely to dispel darkness, but to make the objects endowed with light. That is called prakasha visishtatvam. It is wrong to say an object is perceived in the absence of darkness. But it is right to say that an object is perceived, endowed, bathed in the presence of light. Tasmanna tamas tiraskarnaya eva pradeepa karanam. Kim tarhi? Then what? Why do we create light? If it is not just to remove darkness. No, it is not just to remove darkness, but to make the objects endowed with light. Prakashavatvaya. We create light to make the objects qualified by the light. Prakasha means light. Prakashavat means prakashvala. Prakashavatvaya. In order to make the objects bathed in light, endowed with light, qualified with light. Why? Prakashavatvena eva upalabhyamanatvat. Objects become perceived only when they are endowed with light. Why can't we say that the objects are perceived when there is no darkness? I say, darkness is not a presence of something which you remove. Darkness is not a tangible something. You can't, supposing there is a candle, उसको बुझा सकते हैं. अंधकार को कैसे बुझा सकते हैं जी? Can you बुझा वो darkness? You can foo candle. How do you foo darkness? How do you blow up? You can blow out candle. You can blow out like with the hand you can blow out. How do you remove? It is not tangible, ji. Whereas light is. And here I am going to tell you something if you can capture, and you will be able to. Light is one of the 5 elements. It is a sense object, whereas darkness is not a sense, it's not a part of creation. It is a part of human illusion. It is something. Darkness is not a thing. Darkness is a word for which there is no thing. Darkness is a word for which there is no thing. It is the very absence of light that is called darkness. At a given place, there is light is always there, but at a given place there is no light. It looks like darkness. So you see, a cow's horn. Cows have horns, you know. Cows have horns or no horns? Cows have horns. There are certain cows which don't have horns. It is a bare-headed. Sadhu cow. Because very non-violent. When you are non-violent, you don't require horns. Then it is a bare-head. A man doesn't have a horn is a tangible thing, but the absence of horn, is it a tangible thing? Can we say God created the presence of horn plus the absence of horn? Presence of horn is a part of creation. Absence of horn is a part of illusion in thinking. Very, very difficult. It is a part of illusion. Absence is a word for which there is no thing. Absence is a word for which there is no artha, there is no thing. It's a meaningless word. It's a meaningless word. If you go on reciting the word, absence of horn, absence of, what comes to your mind? Absence of horn, absence of Om Namah Shivaya, absence of horn, absence of horn. Do japa. When you recite the word absence of horn, what comes to your mind? When you recite the word pot, pot comes to your mind. If you recite the word tree, tree comes to your mind. Absence of horn. In fact, when you say absence of horn, you can't know how to think of absence, only horn comes to your mind. Presence of horn comes to your mind. Don't allow the presence of horn to come to the mind. But without remembering the horn, think of the absence of horn. That means it is a word for which there is no meaning. Absence of an object is not tangible. Similarly, darkness is not tangible. And if you can really capture here, I am going to make a huge jump. In fact, absence of horn is rooted in the presence of horn. Absence of horn is a thing, is just a thought. It's a vikalpa. It's a sheer assumption. Similarly, the absence of the waking state and the absence of the dream state in sleep are not tangibles. What is tangible is your presence. It is your presence. You can never come across absence of something. You may use the language that it is absence, but immediately there is no such a thing called absence. It just boils down to presence of something. Yes, without presence, presence is a fact. Absence is an assumption. It's an illusion. I use the word darkness. Actually, there is no Darkness. You can't think of darkness. It is nothing but absence of light. When you use the phrase absence of light, what comes to your mind? Presence of light. Absence of light. Whenever you repeat, what comes to your mind is presence of light. Without allowing the presence of light, without thinking of the light, think of the absence of it. No. Therefore, objects are perceived not in the absence of darkness, but in the presence of light. Okay, ji. Kvachit, kavi, kahi, avarana vinashepi yatna syat. That means, in order to destroy darkness, in order to dispel darkness, you don't have to do anything, you create the presence of light. When you create the presence of light, the darkness is gone. And now it says, but sometimes you have to make an extra effort even to destroy. Like supposing there is a wall, and behind the wall, listen to this very carefully, behind the wall there is a pot. There is something, there is a chair or a table behind this wall, and I can't see it from this side of the wall, and if I have to see the object that side of the wall, I have to destroy the wall. If it is tangible, it needs to be destroyed. I have to destroy it. The moment I destroy it, and if there is light, I come to see the object. But supposing the object is not behind the wall, but it is in the darkness. The object is in the dark. Then, when it is in darkness, then what do? You have to create the light. You can't destroy darkness. Yatha kudyadi vinashe. As in the case of destroying a wall. Kudya means a wall. If the object is behind the wall, I need to destroy the wall, and wall can be destroyed. But if an object is inside darkness, I can't just destroy darkness. Why? Because darkness is not a tangible thing. Therefore, I can't dismantle darkness because it's not a tangible thing. I have to create light. For that, I have to make an extra special effort. Creating light, creating the presence of something is one kind of effort. Destroying something is another kind of effort. One is creating, the other is destroying. Destroying a wall is a destructive process, is one kind of effort. Destroy something, just dismantle it. Whereas creating a light is a different kind of effort. Though that light that is created may dispel darkness. That's a different thing. But the effort to create light is a different kind of effort from the effort that is used to destroy. Tasmat, therefore, na niyamaha. There is no hard and fast rule, Siddhartha is saying. And therefore, similarly, if the pot, before the creation of the pot, there is a clay ball or a kapala, the Purva-Pakshi asserts, just destroy the Mritpinda, the pot will be seen, or destroy the kapala, the Mrit pot will be seen. No, sir. In order to create the pot also, you should make this special effort. Just as you need to create light, you need to create pot. And you can only create it only when it is there in the unmanifest state, the potential. It has to be made manifest. Therefore, na niyamaha asti abhivyaktyarthina avarana vinashaha eva yatnaha karyahiti. There is no hard and fast rule that a person who wants to have a pot, he should merely destroy the Kapala or destroy the Mritpinda. He should make a special effort to create. And that special effort is what? It is called to put it on the wheel, pot wheel you take. Pot maker, you take it to a pot. Similarly, if you want to destroy poverty, poverty is not a tangible thing. Poverty is not a tangible thing. Poverty is nothing but absence of prosperity, really. Absence of prosperity. It's absence. One may have, supposing it is a tangible thing, you can destroy it. But how do you destroy poverty without creating prosperity? What can be destroyed without creating something has its own identity. Like a wall can be destroyed without creating anything. I can just dismantle it. Why? Because it is a tangible thing. But you can't destroy poverty without creating prosperity. If somebody thinks, destroy poverty and automatically you will see prosperity. How? That's not the sequence. Destroy poverty, prosperity you will see is wrong. I say create prosperity, you will find the poverty is not there. You can't destroy poverty. You can only make positive effort to create prosperity. Creation. You have to create. Make it manifest. Here, in the case of prosperity, I have to make karma to create prosperity. Similarly, in order to create the unmanifest part into manifest state, some karma has to be done. Similarly, for Bhagavan to create the unmanifest world to manifest, he doesn't have to do karma. He has to only will it. Even that has to be explained. The law of the very nature of the unmanifest is such that it is the very law triggers it to become manifest. That is the special effort, Ji. The law triggers the unmanifest to become manifest. Yes. That is Ishvara Srishti. And you can't say only law is triggering, but Ishvara, say law is nothing but Ishvara. Where is the law without the lawmaker, Ishvara? Very difficult to explain these things. To respect these laws in the creation. One can explain away the whole creation without making Bhagavan another individual. You can explain away the whole creation from Parameshwara without imagining God as another individual with some mind, with some perspiration on his body. दुनिया को बनाते बनाते थक गए बेचारा. Bhagavan is one who never becomes bechara. We become bechara. Therefore, if the law can trigger the creation, that means it's the lawmaker, the truth only triggers that. One can say that with the Tatparyam somewhere else. The moment you lose sight of Tatparyam, these statements become problems. Then you get stuck. How? Anyway, just as you can't destroy poverty without creating prosperity. But you can't say like this, you can't create prosperity without destroying poverty. The sequence must be very correct. You create prosperity and thus overcome poverty, not you destroy poverty and thus create prosperity. It is a wrong sequence. And when you take a wrong sequence, you don't get the result. That is why, if you are used to drinking, oh, I will stop drinking and afterwards I will do meditation. No, that's the wrong sequence. Sometimes even though both are tangible, drinking is tangible, but even that is because that very habit comes into the picture because of lack of occupation with the right. Pratishiddha karma, a wrong action we do because we are not occupied with the right. Therefore the sequence is, be occupied with the right, the wrong will go. And without getting occupied with the right, the wrong will stick. It's not easy to, because you can't handle the wrong in emptiness. You have to have a substitute. You have to give the monkey a banana to get your purse back. Haji, the monkey has stolen your purse, sitting high up in the tree, and you have got very expensive diamonds in that purse. And if the monkey did not give you back the purse, you may even collapse. It is a crisis for your heart, and you are expecting the monkey to give it back, but the monkey is more intelligent. They are our predecessors. They know much better than we do. Therefore, it is not going to give you its purse, but give it a banana, they give it diamonds. It will say they are all inedible stuff. The monkey says, these are all inedible stuff. Yes. And therefore, that is the right karma. The very adopting of the right karma starts giving you results in life. Yes, right karma, right sequence. If there is a right sequence, I am sure there is a wrong sequence also. And it is possible to follow wrong sequence. You can get into trouble. Therefore, Bhagavan says here, don't say destroy the darkness and there will be light. No, create the light, the darkness will be gone. Similarly, create the pot, the Mritpinda will be gone. Create the pot, the Kapala will be gone. Create the pot and all other creations are gone. Yes. Come to the class, your migraines will be gone. Swami ji, thoda sa doubt hai. Migraines आ जाते हैं, क्या है इसमें क्या बढ़िया है? You are not learning some very intricate some topic. कुछ भी नहीं है. This is simple, all about ourselves. It is just, when you are studying Vedanta, you are all the time with yourself. You are talking only about the subject. Then next. Now, what we are doing is this. Just one thought you pursue, you don't have to feel confused. Just one thought we are pursuing. What we are pursuing is that just as our effort is not just to remove darkness but to create light, similarly, our effort is not just to remove the Mritpinda or Kapala but to create the pot. There is a positive effort, there is effort to create. And you can only create something only when it is in the unmanifest state, unless it should be there. Amazing thought, it should be there for me to create. Purvapakshi is saying, if it is already there, why should you create? You see the communication gap. When I say it should already be there for me to create, I mean it should be there in the avyakrita, unmanifest state. He is saying if it is there already, why do you have to create? I say it is in the unmanifest state. To make it manifest, to make it visible, to make it perceived, I have to do some special effort. Whereas even the philosophers think what is not there can be created. What is there? I say truth is already there but self-evident. Truth is also there already but ever evident, whereas the form is also there already but it is unmanifest. But the truth never becomes unmanifest. Truth doesn't have to be made manifest, but the thoughts and the creation needs to be made manifest. This very thinking, my God, clarifies everything. That means our existence is not made manifest. This thought that I am the body is made manifest. See the difference? Our biography is made manifest. Your present life's biodata is made manifest. And it can remain unmanifest. He thinks something. The next verse, see, next paragraph. Niyama arthavatvacha. Very beautiful. I have to explain it. These are all very, 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 very full of vision, but very not easy to convey. Niyama arthavatvacha, meaning, sir, whenever you make an effort, it should be useful. Niyama arthavatvacha. A principle is that which must have some utility. For example, karane vartamanam karyam, the creation that remains unmanifest in the source. Karane vartamanam karyam, the creation that remains unmanifest in the source. Karyantaranam avaranam ityavocha. And a creation that is there, that takes place in the source, can come in the way of other creations. That's called karyantaranam avaranam. Like if you have a thought in your mind, that comes in the way of entertaining other thoughts. In a way it is called avaranam for us. So the first thought is an avaranam for the second thought. The first thought is an avaranam for the future thoughts. Second thought is an avaranam for the future thoughts. Every thought is an avaranam for the future thoughts. You understand, Find the language also is very, see, even though it comes in the way, but still it is used. The language is used as though it is avaranam. But the moment we hear the word avaranam, we start imagining veil and curtains, etc. Simply it means it comes in the way. Bas, kuch aur kuch nahi. When I have a thought in my mind, I don't see the coming thoughts, because it is only when this thought resolves, then the other thought comes. Then when that resolves, the other. That means every thought is an avaranam for the future thoughts. Bas. Similarly, every creation in the clay, every form in the clay is an avaranam for the future forms. Even a pile of clay is one form of clay. The churnam is one form of clay, pile. इसको अच्छी तरह से pile बनाओ. And you put water and knead it and make a clay ball. That is another form. And you can't make all, and then supposing you make a pot, that is another form. And you break the pot and then there are kapalas, that is another form. But one form comes in the way of other forms. That means you can't have all the forms at a time. When you create one form, the other form goes into unmanifest state. And when you make that second form, when you make the second form manifest, then the first form has gone into unmanifest state. Therefore, that means all forms are unmanifest. Therefore, every manifest form is an avaranam for all the unmanifest forms. It's a very beautiful thing. That means what? Every possibility is in the unmanifest state. Every possible form is in the unmanifest state. And when the form is born, it comes in the way of other forms. And when you create a form, then it becomes useful. Arthavatvat, it is useful. When you make a pot, it is useful. Clay ball has got its own usefulness. Kapala has got its own usefulness. But that usefulness also is a part of creation. This is one meaning. Now, I'll try to explain it. Supposing there is an object, there is a pot behind the wall. Now, even though there is a pot behind the wall, because of this curtain of the wall, I am not able to see the pot. All that I have to do is just destroy the wall. I see the pot. There is no need to create. There is no usefulness to create a pot. There is no need to create a pot because it is already manifest. It is already there. It is just hiding behind the wall. I don't have to bother just to break the wall. I see it. But when the pot is unmanifest in the clay, I should not only dismantle clay ball, I should not only dismantle clay pile, I should not only dismantle kapala, but I should also create a pot. And therefore, special effort is made when it is necessary. We make an effort to create only when creating is necessary. Where the effort to create is not necessary, if it is already manifest, then we don't have to do any effort. If there is a pot behind the wall, you don't have to create the pot because the pot is already there. All that you have to do is just dismantle the wall. But in the case of the clay, the pot is there but in the unmanifest state. By dismantling the clay pile, just by dismantling the clay ball, you can't see the pot. You have to make a pot. Why? Because that effort is useful. I would use it as necessary. Where the act of creation is necessary, you can't bypass it. That is what it means. Niyama arthavatvacha. Tatra yadi, tatra there, yadi in case, purvabhivyaktasya karyasya pindasya vyavahitasya va kapalasya vinashe eva yatnaha kriyeta tada vidala churnadi api karyam jayeta. Up to that, it is a very simple meaning. Siddhanti is telling, sir, you destroy the clay ball, you dismantle it, crush the clay ball, crush the kapalas. What do you have? Pile of churnam. That is another creation. That is another creation. Pot is not pot. That is another form anyway. That is another form, but the pot is not created. Therefore, in order to create the pot, you should not only destroy the clay ball, you should not only destroy the clay ball, you should not only destroy the kapala, but you should also create it. Tenapi avrutaha gataha, even a clay pile conceals the pot. Like a clay ball conceals the pot. Like a kapala conceals the pot. Like similarly clay pile also can conceal the pot. And that concealed pot has to be brought out. You have to make a special effort to create. You have to create it. To create it. By destroying one form, it doesn't mean another form automatically gets born. No. It will go back into the source, that's all. Even though this logic is given, I would like to give a little tilt to it. You destroy the clay ball, it becomes clay. You destroy the kapala, it becomes clay. The source is there. So the clay ball goes back, then there is a source is left. The source with the potential for the clay ball, the source for the potential for the kapala, the source for the pot is there. There is source holding many possibilities in it. There is clay with many possibilities in it. You can shape the clay into a clay ball, you can shape it into kapalas, you can shape it into a pot. Therefore, destroying the clay ball doesn't amount to creation of the pot. Actually, destruction of the clay ball means going back to the source. Destruction of the kapala is going back to the source. Destruction of one form is not equal to creation of another form. After destroying one form, I have to make an extra effort to create another form. The builders can understand this logic very well. Builders, logical, they not only make an effort to destroy the old building, then they make special effort to create a new building. My God. The pace at which these things are growing up. Where is the infrastructure to sustain all these people? In each box there is a steel box. What they call is all steel boxes. Where I am staying, it's supposed to be very good colony, etc. Some new skyscrapers have come behind my Prasadi there. The veranda is where even one chair can't come. That's so difficult, and then you have no place to dry the clothes. They steal government space little outside, they put the rope and they put there. It's such a difficult thing. Why do you have to cover the whole thing? Keep some open space. Why are you averse to open space? Is not open space a competition? Is only enclosed thing is a competition? In fact, life can become more comfortable with a little open space. Little open space. That is also, they think, ghar must be. Anyway, and I can tell you one thing. This is my vision. If you have a little open space like, we used to have a portico, there is a backyard, there is a angan, what we call angan. And if you get suffocating, if you feel suffocating inside, even thoughts can make you feel suffocating. Tension can make you feel suffocating. Where do you resolve it? In open space. These days, not only you don't have open space to resolve your mental tensions. In fact, that you don't have open space would cause more and more tensions. You have to go into the street. There is no privacy there. Even to look yourself, just to be yourself. You can't be yourself on the public road. Then you have to put up a facade. Even though you have migraines, you have to give an unnecessary smile. It's unwarranted, you see somebody, otherwise they will think, kya ho gaya? But if you have a separate, secluded, open space, you can just be yourself. That is exactly, solitude is meant to make you feel yourself. With open space, the society can be much better, I'm telling you. The open space should be just adjoining your bedroom. Why? Because you can come out and then go in. A few times you do like this, you're all right. Then open space has the magic. Come into the open and look up. Take some deep breathing. It's all right, you're all right. But what is the topic we are doing? Therefore, the builder can understand that you should not only dismantle the thing, but you should make special effort to create. Yes. A builder can understand this logic much better. Ji? Okay. This is over. Just another couple of minutes. Tenapi avritaha ghataha na upalabhyate iti punaha prayatnantara apekshayeva. Even if you reduce clay ball into clay or the kapalas into clay, but still the pot is not there, and therefore ultimately you have to use that clay to shape what yatnantara. Yatnantara means extra effort has to be done. For creation, destruction of something is not equal to destruction of something is not equal to creation of something. Perhaps creation of something can lead to destruction of something. It's a very beautiful sequence. To create violence, to destroy violence, create love, create Vedantic thinking. There is only one truth, one God, one truth, one self. Don't unnecessarily. There are no boundaries in the truth. Create understanding, violence will be destroyed. But it is the other thing is wrong. Destroy violence, then Vedanta will Ena Yoga. Ultimately, Vihita karma will negate Pratishiddha karma. Create the right, the wrong will go. Thus I am concluding. Tasma, therefore, Gatadi abhivekyarthinaha niyataha eva karaka vyaparaha arthavan. Therefore, a person who is in need of a pot must take up a proper, must make a relevant effort, an adequate effort based on means of creation, etc. And therefore, and ultimately what do we conclude? Tasmat pragutpatterapi sadeva karyam. Therefore, the Siddhanti concludes, therefore, sir, even though you don't see pot in the clay, the possibility is always there. Therefore, it is better to say, even before the creation of the pot is. Even before the creation of the pot is. Where is it? In the source. So, if in the same manner, the universe, even before its creation, it is in the source. Then which vada we come to? Satkaryavada or Shunyavada? Satkaryavada. Thus Vedanta propounds Satkaryavada, whereas Shunyavada is propound Shunya. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Ji, 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 Hari Om Ji. Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya. Adi, ele.